What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Carvana. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down, what's moving it, but more importantly, where is it heading next? Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So it is up 10+% right now, 424 the low, 440 and change the high. So a new all-time high being hit for Carvana and a lot of volume. So the market's been open roughly around an hour and a half, give or take, and there has been so far 5.3 million shares being traded. So a lot of big money is getting in. Today there hasn't been any news from Carvana, no SEC filings, but rather this did come out after hours on Friday. So the highly anticipated addition to the S&P 500 came to fruition. So this does mean that by now, or from now up until December the 22nd, you will see institutions buying into Carvana. So that's going to add a massive amount of liquidity, more than already what's out there. So from the last 13 Fs, it does show right at the bottom, right down here, around 98.14% of all the outstanding shares is held by institutions. So even though institutions already own like a hell of a lot of Carvana, that's going to just increase so much more. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. But aside from that though, you're also seeing some new analyst ratings popping up, and some of these are right over here. So I'll give you a quick overview of that. So right now you did have a initiated coverage, so a brand new one by Morgan Stanley. Andrew, who has a 58% success rating, did give a 450 price target. You also had a buy from Bank of America, 455. Mike, who has a 48% success rating. So most likely you will see a hell of a lot of new ratings coming out. High for right now is $500. That was done by, it looks like, Chris Pierce with Needham, who has a 41% success rating. As a consensus, $436 is that average. That's based on the last 3 months worth of ratings. And surprisingly enough, that does represent a 0.9% downside. So epic day, and I think in general, as you kind of already saw, based on the Elliott Wave technicals, which I think that's what everyone cares about, right? What is coming next? This is forecasting for Carvana's good momentum to continue to between that 454 and 477. And realistically, once I go over the technicals a little bit more near the end of the video, it will most likely hit that. And there's a lot of big catalysts coming out in the broader market to justify that, because tomorrow, for instance, we have ADP numbers, Jolt numbers, and if that comes in, then the market is going to truly start believing in a now January cut. And then on Wednesday, we do have the interest rate decision. So most likely we'll be getting a 25 basis point cut. And then again, Powell afterwards, if he alludes to, let's say, a January cut, then the market is just going to go FOMO like crazy. So let me know your general thoughts if you feel 477 is on the table. On a side note, if you do want access to all this good free information, recommend signing up for IBKR. I think now at this day and age, everyone also does need access to one broker at least that has overnight trading, and I love using IBKR. So I've linked to them in the description below, and also put it in the comments if you are curious. But nonetheless, looking at shorts, I like to overall bring this up as more of a kind of analysis tool, not because I feel Carvana is a squeeze at all, but right now shorts are increasing 122,000 shares, but given that there is 5+ million shares being traded, they're not really doing too much. 8.2% of the free floats being shorted works out to be 11.38 million shares overall being shorted. There is some sketchiness happening behind the scenes. Again, not here to spread any kind of misinformation saying that, hey, this stock's gonna MOAS or whatever people like to say it. There is 6.75 million shares on loan, but yet 11.38 million is being shorted. So there is some signs of naked shorting. Very difficult to kind of prove. But based on this information right here through Ortex, it does indicate that there is some weird stuff happening behind the scenes. DTC being at 3.66 days does signal that shorts are overextended. So for them increasing, they might be kind of putting themselves in a little bit of a pinch. Again, I don't anticipate like a squeeze or anything, but they should naturally just kind of continue to leave. Looking at the options, 102 million in calls, 36 million in puts, and then 52% of all the options being done so far are bullish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around 450 to 460 by the end of this Friday. Bears are anticipating for it to consolidate down to 410 to 420. So a little bit more kind of mixed results for that, but these are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So a lot of big money is getting into Carvana, and even when it comes down to the dark pool. A couple of key points though, with it at 442, it is above all the key fib levels. So right now 435 is going to be that key support. You really want to watch for that to hold. And then in theory, moving over to the classic, 525, bigger picture, is going to be the next strong target. So based on the fib levels, you see 477 as potentially being on the table in the short term, and then 526 might be the next strong target. So interesting kind of stuff. Aside from all of that fun stuff though, on the actual chart, this is looking absolutely epic. Only negative though is the fact that it is overbought, but a lot of stocks can kind of stay overbought for a while as they do enter new kind of price discovery kind of areas. Looking at the market position though, you see a hell of a lot of willing buyers. And there is that gap right here. So for those of you that do believe in the gap needs to be filled, that's potentially something to kind of keep in mind. Might not come tomorrow or whatever the next day, but in theory that could be kind of filled in, let's say, the next 6 to 8 months. Again, that's if you do believe in that kind of mentality. But aside from all of that though, I think the next big thing that should really push Carvana higher, at least for today, is more bullish ratings. So let me know your general thoughts on Carvana. Just wanted to give you a quick overview of some of the data points, what's really moving it, and realistically where it could be going next. If you want, I can always do a deeper dive on some of their financials in a following video. I kind of looked at it briefly leading into this video. Their last earnings definitely was good. A lot of the key metrics were improved. Based on this though, it does look like it went down about 7.7%, or at the low was 14.89%. So this stock's been a crazy volatile ride, but overall I think they always hit their phenomenal earnings from what it looks like. So let me know your general thoughts on Carvana, and again, if you want more of a deeper dive, I can definitely do that. One final thing though, if you're looking for some solid on point buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, pop over to my Patreon. I put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Definitely worthwhile to kind of pop over there and check that out. One of the most recent hits was this stock right here. Ticker is PATH. So this stock has been a absolute beast. So I gave a signal at I think it was around 13.50 that this was a buy, and it is now at 19 and change. So definitely worthwhile to pop over to the Patreon and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.